You didn't rent a luxury studio. You signed an extraction contract. That $3,500 place in Austin, Miami, or Nashville, it isn't a symbol of success. It's a high yield financial product wrapped in pretty packaging. They didn't sell you an apartment, they sold you an identity. And while you're posting the rooftop pool on Instagram, someone is capitalizing every amenity fee, every technology package, every ridiculous add on, and turning your paycheck into their valuation. If you're earning good money, but your net worth won't move, it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's because you're living inside a glass cage with a monthly subscription. Today, I'm going to show you the game. Who's really collecting your rent? How they manipulate NOI? Why luxury now means overpriced plastic? And the exact math of how much this choice is stealing from your future. Stick with me, because once you see this, you'll never look at an apartment tour the same way again. To understand why your rent is so high, you have to understand who you're actually paying. You aren't paying a landlord, you're paying a REIT, a real estate investment trust, or a private equity fund. These entities build for one thing: the exit. They build these towers with one goal: sell them to massive pension funds for hundreds of millions of dollars. And to maximize that sale price, they must maximize the net operating income, NOI. Every extra $100 they squeeze out of you through mandatory valet trash, through technology packages, through amenity fees, gets capitalized at a 4 or 5% cap rate. That $50 pet fee isn't just $50, it's $600 a year per unit. At a 5% cap rate, 600 divided by 0.05 equals $12,000 in value. They aren't providing a service. They're optimizing a spreadsheet, and you're the primary revenue stream in a giant asset flipping scheme. Now here's the question. How do they justify the luxury label while cutting costs? Value engineering. 20 years ago, luxury meant solid oak floors, masonry walls, and soundproofed units. Today, it's LVP, luxury vinyl plank. It sounds expensive, but it's literally waterproof plastic. It's cheap to install, indestructible for the owner, and it offers zero acoustic insulation. You can hear your neighbor's iPhone vibration at 6 a.m. because there is no mass between units. They use engineered quartz, which is just stone dust held together by resin, because it's cheaper and more consistent than granite or marble. They install stainless steel appliances that are the cheapest builder-grade models available, just wrapped in a shiny skin. Then they add a $20 matte black faucet, some recessed LED strips, and a curated scent in the lobby. And just like that, they rebrand a Class C structure as an ultra-luxury Class A experience. You are paying a premium for a brand, not a building. You are buying the packaging, so while the product inside is decaying, saiwa by design. So why do smart, high-earning professionals fall for this? Because developers are masters of psychological priming and choice architecture. They know high achievers suffer from the Diderot effect. One new possession often triggers a spiral of consumption, where you buy more and more, but just to match your new environment. When you move into a glass tower, your 5-year-old Toyota suddenly looks out of place in the valet line. Your standard gym clothes feel inadequate next to the guy wearing $200 Lululemon sets in the building's yoga studio. So you start spending to match your environment. This is mimetic desire, that subconscious drive to copy the spending habits of your social circle just to avoid feeling like an outsider. And the amenity war, that's a classic distraction technique. They show you a virtual golf suite, a pet spa, a co-working lounge. But here's the truth. Most of these signature amenities are brochure bait. A small slice of residents uses them consistently, while everyone else subsidizes them through fees. You are paying for a lifestyle you aren't actually living. You're paying $400 to $600 a month, inconvenience tax, and for the idea of being the person who uses a rooftop pool. While in reality, you're working 60 hours a week in a cubicle or a home office just to pay for it. And it gets worse. These buildings are designed to be consumption hubs. They're placed next to high-margin retailers like Whole Foods, Equinox, and or SoulCycle. When you're exhausted after a 10-hour shift in tech or finance, the friction to cook a healthy meal is high, but the friction to buy a $22 salad in your lobby is zero. So you get trapped inside an ecosystem designed to extract every disposable dollar from your paycheck before it ever hits your savings account. This isn't a neighborhood, it's a giant shopping mall. It's where you happen to sleep. We need to talk about the institutionalization of housing. In the 1970s and 80s, the American dream was built on home equity. It was the primary way the middle class built wealth. Today, institutional capital is actively shifting the United States toward a rentership society. Why? Because renting to high income professionals is more profitable than selling to them. They want to turn your housing into a monthly subscription service. When you rent a luxury apartment, you are participating in a massive transfer of wealth. From the labor class, you, to the capital class, the REIT shareholders. Think about the irony. The pension fund you hope will pay for your retirement is likely an investor in the REIT that's raising your rent aggressively at renewal, often 5%, 8%, even 10% in hot markets. You are essentially paying for your own future retirement with dollars that have been devalued by the very system you're supporting. And now we need to talk about the scam of lease concessions. You see an ad for 8 weeks free on a $4,000 apartment. You think you're getting a deal. But the REIT isn't doing you a favor. They use concessions to keep the face rent high. They keep the official rent at $4,000 on the lease, then give you 2 months free so the building's valuation stays artificially high. High for the next buyer, high for quarterly reports to Wall Street. Then your renewal comes up. That discount disappears, and you're hit with a 20% effective increase. They're betting on your inertia. The fact that it's too much of a hassle to move every year, they are literally taxing your laziness. Now let's get into the math that keeps most high earners middle class forever. It's called tax drag. If your rent is 4,000, you don't just need to earn 4,000. Depending on your bracket and your state, you may need something like 6,000 or more in gross income just to net 4,000. Rent is the most tax inefficient expense you have. Zero deductions, zero depreciation, zero equity. You are working the first 15 days of every month just to pay for a place you basically just sleep in. So let's compare two 30-year-olds in a city like Denver or Seattle. Alex and Jordan. Both earn 150,000. After taxes, their take-home is around 8 to 9,000 a month. Alex signs a lease for the Summit Luxury Towers. Rent plus fees. 4,200 per month. Total annual housing. 50,400. Pre-tax income needed to cover housing, about 75,000. Alex is spending 50% of his working hours, half of his professional life, just to exist in a glass box. Jordan finds a clean Class B unit built in 2005. It's safe. It's 15 minutes further from downtown, and it has no rooftop pool. Rent, 2,400 per month. Total annual housing, 28,800. Jordan is saving 1,800 a month, or 21,600 a year, just by sacrificing a lobby vibe. Now watch what that decision does over time. If Jordan invests that 1,800 a month into a standard S&P 500 index fund with an 8% average annual return, in 10 years, he has $330,000. If Alex keeps renting the luxury unit, in 10 years he has zero equity, and his rent has likely increased to $5,500 due to inflation. But the opportunity cost is even more brutal. That $330,000 isn't just cash. It's leverage. It's the ability to buy a value-add triplex. Jordan can use that capital as a 20% down payment on a $1.5 million asset. He can now become the landlord. He can buy a building, renovate it, using the same value engineering tricks we just discussed, and have 3 Alexas pay for his mortgage, his taxes, and his retirement. So by choosing the luxury apartment today, you aren't just spending money, you are shorting your own future self. You are betting your future income will grow faster than real estate inflation, a bet that most professionals have lost over the last 2 decades. So, what is the plan? You don't have to live in a basement. But you do have to be strategic. Step 1. Audit the amenities. Look at your building's portal right now. How many fees are hidden? Valet trash, $35. Amenity fee, $50. Technology package, $100. These are pure profit margins for the landlord. When you look for your next place, look for Class B plus buildings. These are often owned by private individuals or smaller firms, not massive REITs. They have lower overhead, and they're more willing to negotiate on rent because they don't have to answer to Wall Street analysts every quarter. You want to rent from a person, not a corporation. Step 2. The 25% rule. In the US, the old rule was 30% of your gross income for housing. For a high achiever, that is too high. If you want to build real wealth, aim for 25% of your post-tax income. If you make $8,000 a month after taxes, your housing should be $2,000. And if that means living 15 minutes further from downtown, you take that deal every single time. That 15-minute commute is worth $1,500 a month in freedom credits. Use that commute time to listen to financial podcasts or learn a new skill. Turn that drive into an investment. Step 3. Leverage the FHA house hack. Numbers vary by county and deal, but the strategy is the same. You live in one unit and rent the other 3. Total mortgage, $5,200. Rental income from 3 units, $4,500. Your net housing cost, $700. You just went from paying $4,000 a month to live in a glass cage to paying $700 a month to own $1 million asset. You've just freed up $3,300 a month. In 5 years, that extra cash flow can allow you to buy your real dream home. While your peers are still arguing with their property manager about a broken elevator in a luxury tower. Now we need to redefine what luxury actually means. Is it luxury to have a 24-hour concierge handling your Amazon packages, but you feel a pit in your stomach every time you check your savings account? Is it luxury to have a resort-style pool that you only see when you're walking to your car? To go to a job you're afraid to quit? No, that isn't luxury. That's a golden cage. True luxury is optionality. It's the ability to say no to a toxic boss. It's the ability to take a 6-month sabbatical to travel the world without checking your bank balance. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are an owner, not a subscriber. The American dream has been repackaged as a subscription service by the same people who want to sell you everything else on a monthly plan. They want you to subscribe to your status, your furniture, your home. But real wealth is built in the unsexy Class B buildings. Freedom is bought with the $1,500 a month you don't spend on a marble lobby, on a waterfall at the entrance. Stop paying the convenience tax. Stop being the exit liquidity for private equity firms. Look at your lease as a business contract. And right now, you're on the losing side of that deal. Every month you stay in a luxury apartment you can't afford to save from. You are voting for your own financial stagnation. If you're ready to stop looking rich and start actually being wealthy, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that this kind of data-heavy, brutally honest content is what the world needs. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If this helped, hit like, subscribe for more, and drop a comment with the one takeaway you're actually going to use. I'll see you in the next one.